Godzilla has been through various iterations throughout the years. Some have been lighter-hearted and, dare I say, cute, but he's also had his fair share of horror, smashing through cities and causing unfathomable torment. The King of the Monsters has made a name for himself for having some of the most haunting scenes in the kaiju genre. So today, we felt like taking a look down memory lane and finding the top 10 most terrifying Godzilla moments. This can be any monster from any Godzilla film from any era. Welcome home, residents. It's your Mayor Alistair back once again. Let's get to that list. When most fans think of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, they immediately jump to that final battle, burning Godzilla's last stand. But before all that, we get what might be the closest the franchise has ever come to a horror movie. The early stages of Destroyer don't appear as one big kaiju, but as dozens of smaller crab-like creatures. They scuttle through dark hallways, ambush soldiers, and attack people in close quarters. This whole sequence plays out less like a Godzilla film and more like something straight out of Aliens. Guns flash in the dark, soldiers scream as they're dragged off screen, and there's a claustrophobic sense that you can't escape. It's unnerving because we're so used to giant kaiju battles that seeing humans hunted down by something smaller, but still utterly lethal, feels like something we hadn't seen before. For once, the horror isn't from a city-leveling giant, it's from being stalked in the shadows, and to me, that might be even more terrifying. Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack features one of the darkest versions of Godzilla ever seen. Gone is the heroic or even neutral interpretation. This Godzilla is a literal embodiment of vengeance possessed by the restless spirits of those who died in World War II. In one chilling scene, a woman lies in a hospital bed, already terrified from the chaos outside. She looks out of the window and sees Godzilla's hulking body lumbering towards her. She thinks he's going to walk straight through the building until he seemingly walks on by. There's a split second where you think maybe she'll survive. And then his tail comes in and the entire building is obliterated in an instant. It's scary on its own, but the way the film plays it with a bit of grim irony makes it even more impactful. There's almost a cruel sense of humor in how this scene plays out. The calm as you think she's okay, and then obliterates her without hesitation. It's just perfect timing. That combination of perfect timing with this dark terror makes this scene unforgettable. Gareth Edwards' Godzilla took a grounded approach to the King of the Monsters, and one of the best examples is that Hawaii sequence, when Godzilla arrives in pursuit of the Hokmuto, and the ocean starts to rise. The city streets suddenly flood, people panic as water surges in, cars float away, and buildings crumble under the pressure. What makes this scene so effective is how much it mirrors real-life disasters. Audiences can't help but think of tsunamis, sudden, overwhelming waves that destroy everything in their path. It's terrifying not just because of the kaiju, but because it feels plausible. If monsters did exist, this is exactly the kind of disaster they would trigger. That's exactly what 2014 was designed to represent. The King of the Monsters as a reflection of real natural disasters. The sound design here is also fantastic. You hear the distant rumble before the water crashes through, and then silence as people and debris are left floating in the aftermath. For a moment, it's less about Godzilla himself and more about the horrifying reality of being caught in nature's wrath. Godzilla's Singular Point brought a fresh kind of horror to the franchise. Before Godzilla even shows up, his presence is foreshadowed by this mysterious red fog, a manifestation of Archetype, a trans-dimensional substance capable of manipulating reality and creating the kaiju we see in the show. This borders on cosmic horror, something so terrifying humans can barely comprehend it. It rolls across town, swallowing up everything it touches. It's unnatural, unsettling, and it makes the world feel contaminated, like something terrible is about to happen and there's no stopping it. This concept turns Godzilla from a monster you can fight into an almost apocalyptic force of nature. Roland Emmerich's Godzilla 98 is one of the most divisive films in the franchise, but even critics agree that first reveal of Godzilla is genuinely pretty tense and frightening. The scene unfolds like a natural disaster, The ground shakes, buildings collapse, but the filmmakers hold back in showing Godzilla in full. Instead, we only get glimpses through rain, smoke, and collapsing buildings. That choice makes him feel mysterious and even more terrifying. For all its flaws, this sequence stands out as a terrifying example of how effective Godzilla can be when obscured. Godzilla vs. Hedorah takes things to an unusually grim place. Hedorah, the smog monster, does more than mindlessly destroy buildings. It alters the very environment that we rely on. His sludge dissolves people alive, coating their bodies in corrosive ooze. The film even goes as far as to show a baby dying from the toxic sludge, which is easily one of the darkest places the series has gone. The imagery is disturbing, people run, clutching their faces, eyes burning as the smoke fills their lungs. Bodies collapse lifeless in the streets, and then dissolve into mere skeletons. It's shocking for a Godzilla film, especially from the Showa era. But what makes it terrifying is the metaphor. This film reminds us that human industry created this horror, and that the real-world consequences of pollution could be just as devastating. It was intended as a message, a horror to remind you that the nightmare doesn't end when the credits roll. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, we're introduced to a Ghidorah unlike any before him, an alien creature, ancient and godlike. During his battle with Godzilla in the ocean, one of Ghidorah's heads is torn clean off. For a moment, you think humanity might have a chance. That is until the oxygen destroyer stops the fight in its tracks. Then, in eerie silence, we watch the still water before Ghidorah bursts out and circles back to the erupting volcano. And a new head slowly grows back. Tendrils extend and disgustingly form new bone, muscle and tendons, and slowly we see the head reforming as it once was. The sight of this dragon-like titan standing against a volcanic backdrop, regenerating as if nothing happened, is pure nightmare fuel. The cross pointing towards him as well symbolizes that this is something demonic. It adds a layer of cosmic horror to Ghidorah. He isn't just a monster you can fight, he's something beyond our understanding. Something unnatural that refuses to die, not part of the natural order. Watching that head slither back to life tells you this isn't a creature bound by normal rules. He's a god of chaos, and he's unstoppable. Well, until Godzilla shows up again. Few scenes in the entire franchise are as devastating as Shin Godzilla's first use of his atomic breath. When he finally unleashes it, the beam cuts through Tokyo like a surgical blade. Buildings are sliced in half, flames engulf the city, coating everything in hellish light. The sound is unbearable, a shrill, high-pitched shriek that echoes as people scream and run. Unlike previous versions, Shin Godzilla's attack feels more like a weapon of mass destruction than a natural ability. It's terrifying in precision, as if he's deliberately punishing the city. What's left is a city coated in fire. No life left in sight, just ash and destruction. For many, this was the closest the franchise has come to capturing that true horror of nuclear devastation since 1954. And for that, it deserves the number 3 spot. Godzilla -1 gives us one of the most nerve-wracking and unique Godzilla sequences ever. The survivors of Japan are already on edge from the war, but then Godzilla arrives, hunting them like prey. The sequence plays out with the tension of Jaws. You know he's there, lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike. He raises up and follows closely behind the vessel. Eyes locked on, and you just know he wants to obliterate you. One slip-up will lead to your demise. And then, when you think they might have a chance after they blow up his skull with a mine, Godzilla reveals his regenerative ability. How do you kill something that just keeps coming back? It's horrifying because it takes away the illusion of hope. You can't fight him, you can only run, and even then, you might not make it. Before we get to number 1, here's some monstrous honorable mentions. we have the gonorrhea joke.
Ghidorah, the one who's many.
what?
She's a gonorrhea.
Oh my goodness!
Well, I'm obviously joking. The scariest Godzilla moment of all time will always be the original Rampage from 1954. This wasn't just a monster movie. This was a nation processing real trauma only 9 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Godzilla tears through Tokyo with no mercy. Buildings collapse, fire consumes entire districts, and the screams of civilians echo through the night. The black and white imagery makes it even more haunting, with stark shadows highlighting the destruction. One standout scene has a mother and daughter just accepting their fate as the world crumbles around them, as she comforts her child by saying they'll be with their father soon. It's the closest the franchise has ever come to the unfortunate reality the series is based off. For Japanese audiences in 1954, it was a direct reflection of their lived experience, a walking symbol of nuclear devastation. That's why, even today, it remains the most chilling scene in Godzilla history. So there you have our top 10 most terrifying scenes in the Godzilla franchise. The franchise is stock full of frightening scenes that will leave impacts on you whether old or young. And there's plenty more from each of these films that I wanted to include, but I wanted to give more films the chance to shine. So maybe we'll do a part 2 someday. If there's any we missed out on, be sure to let us know. Which do you think is the scariest scene? Give us your opinions in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of DangerVille today. And give us a big Kong-sized like if you want more top 10s. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.